Very good evening to all of you, and I welcome all of you to Online Study for You. As you know that I am Isha Grewal. I'm your verbal ability trainer and soft skills trainer too. So today, this entire session, I have planned, like we have planned for all of you so that we can talk about TCS NQT. As we all know that TCS NQT, the exam is right there at the corner, and there are so many things that we can talk about: how to prepare, what to prepare, and how are we going to go about to clear the written test. Because of all of that, we have planned this live session for all of you today so that we can talk about the preparation techniques, the tips and tricks, and definitely I'm going to talk about one section, that is verbal ability. So VA is going to, we are going to take verbal ability today, so that how are you going to be solving the questions in the exam, how not, what are the things that you should bear in mind while solving verbal ability. That is what we are going to talk about. So before I start with my session, I would just want to let you know that when we talk about written tests of placements, be it placements, be it anything, so there are like a few sections that you have to be very well read about. Quantitative aptitude is there. You all must know about it. Then reasoning is there. Then in that section we have verbal ability, that talks about grammar, that talks about English, and the things that are good about this section are it is very scoring. So if you solve, if you are knowing how to solve grammar part, then it will be very easy for you to take out a lot of marks from that section. One thing. Second thing, that we know that there is no negative marking that we have to worry about, so we can solve the entire question paper. Time management is very important while solving verbal ability, because when attempting the exam, the problematic area while solving multiple choice questions is time management. So how to manage time, that is what we will be talking about today. How to use elimination method in multiple choice questions, that we will talk about today. So everything, how to solve verbal ability, we are going to discuss today. So moving on to one thing that I would want to let you know before I start my session is, what are the topics that we need to understand, that we need to go through very properly in VA, verbal ability. So reading comprehension is one thing. It comes up in most of the placement tests, especially when I emphasize about TCS NQT. So reading comprehension, passages, missing words, close test, paragraph jumbles, passage completion. I can see that there is a change in the trends, and earlier, like in the papers, we were not getting these kind of questions a lot. But these days, like when I was going through all the papers, this TCS NQT is going to go through it. So I could understand that passages are coming in a lot of quantity. So you need to know how to solve reading comprehension, close test, passage completion. Spotting errors is one part that we need to be very well aware about. Paragraph jumbles, phrasal verbs, subject verb agreement, noun to noun agreement. Then sentence completion is there, as I've written over here for all of you. Phrasal verbs are there. Pronouns are there, right? Parajumbles are there. So these are the topics we are going to talk about in verbal ability. So I will tell you the do's and don'ts and the tips and tricks how to be solving VA part in the exam. But before that, I would want you all to know that Online Study for You over here, we have launched a crash course specially for TCS NQT 2024 attempt for all of you. I hope that my screen is visible. If you can let me know. I hope that my screen is visible.
No, it's not changing. It's on the PPT itself.
Today, so I'll tell you how to prepare for VA. There will be some questions, guys, that I will be discussing with you. I will ask you also some answers so that you can comment in the comment box so that I can see how many are listening to me very carefully. So the kind of questions that come up in the verbal ability part would be definitely related to. Now, when we talk about vocabulary, it can be antonyms, it can be synonyms, it can be one-word substitution, any kind of vocabulary can be there. So let's take up the first question over here, that is antonym. So we have to identify the antonym of the given word, that is procrastinate. So anyone who could quickly answer, do you know the meaning of procrastinate? If you can answer in the comment, I would love to see your comments over there. And if you are liking me speaking and letting you know, so you can like my video also. But I would want to see the comment section. Procrastinate the meaning. Anyone who can tell me? Okay, somebody is saying, Mihir is saying that B is the right option, and Saurabh Deep is saying that D is the right option. Okay, so see guys, first of all,
One thing, just wanted to add. So guys, everyone please try to participate, man. So it's a free class. So please everyone try to give the answer, whatever it is right or wrong, because
people are writing.
Yeah, because ma'am is definitely putting a lot of effort. So everyone please answer.
Somebody has written postpone. Okay, yeah, Pavan, I think Pavan, you are very well, you are very right with the answer. Postpone is the right word when we go with procrastinate. So when the question is asking us about the antonym, the very first thing is that you should know the meaning, guys. Whenever there is a question that comes up of antonym, synonym, one word, meaning pata hona is very important. You should know the meaning of the word. So procrastinate, delaying something, postponing something. So here we have 4 options with us. First option over there is exclude, second is propagate, third is experiment, and D is expedite. So when we say exclude, the meaning of exclude would be to remove something from a part or like that. Propagate would be to create something new out of the given thing, right? There is a new creation of maybe a plant or something out of what is already given with you. So absolutely exclude and propagate are not going to be the correct answers for this word procrastinate. C is experiment. You all know the meaning of experiment. So it is not related to, antonym being the antonym of the word delayed or procrastinate. So we have the D option, third one, as many of you have replied to me in the comment section also. Expedite means to hurry up with something, and postponing, procrastinating means to stop doing it. So yeah, the correct antonym of the given word for question number 1 would be expedite. So let's see that in the explanation part also, I have tried to make you understand that procrastinate means to put off intentionally the doing of something should be done, and expedite means to accelerate or to grow the process or the progress of something. So the correct answer would be D, last one, that is expedite. Okay, now this is proceeding with question number 2 over here. A bit tricky this question is. So generally, guys, in the exams, you get jumbling paragraphs. You get 4 sentences and you have to arrange them in a proper order. But this is, as I was going through TCS NQT pattern, so I got to know that this is a question that is not asking you to jumble the paragraph. It is asking you to tell which sentence is going to be the third in the paragraph. So I'll give you a minute to read it, and if anybody could tell me which sentence is the third one in the passage. Please read the sentences and tell me which according to you should be the third sentence. Come on. Just go through and tell me the third one. I have not gotten any answers yet. Anyone? Please read the paragraph. Okay. Saurabh Deep again is here answering us with the D one, that is 4th sentence. Okay. 4th sentence according to many people, D. Okay. Thank you for answering us, Saurabh Deep. And Saurav again is saying 4th one should be the one that is going to be the correct answer. Okay. Now, guys, in such questions, what is expected out of you is, when you are reading the passage, always eliminate the answers, like understand the connectors. After that, so, however, these are the connectors which the passage is using with you, right? So when we arrange the sentences, we know that with the connector, we are not going to start our paragraph. Wherever there is a connector, it is not going to start my paragraph. So let's see how will my paragraph start, right? Maria's parents needed some money. So the very first thing is that second sentence is going to be the first one. Maria's parents needed some money. So she went to the bank to withdraw some money. So once her parents were needing the money, what did she do? She had no money, so she went to the bank to withdraw some money. After that, she spent almost half an hour at the post office. Maria reached her office at 10 o'clock after sending the money. So the question is asking you to tell about the third sentence in the paragraph. So see, Maria's parents needed some money is the first sentence. However, she had no money with her. So she went to the bank to withdraw some money. So let's see which is the right one. 4th. So most of you are answering the 4th one and the D one, which is absolutely the right sentence. So yeah, it is the correct answer. That 4th one is the sentence which is going to be the third in the paragraph. So always in these kind of sentences, in these kind of questions, understand that if you have to start a paragraph, no connector is going to be used. The beginning will always be without the connector. So these are the tips and tricks you need to understand, that connector cannot begin my paragraph. Okay. So proceeding to question number 3 for the day over here with all of you. I'll just move my screen a bit. Yeah. Select the part of the sentence which has an error. So this is asking you to talk about error detection. This is the sentence given to you and you have to tell where the error is lying. So since sunrise to sunset, my grandmother would sit by her wheel spinning and reciting prayers. Now quickly, I would give you again some seconds to find out where you think the error lies. So option A over there for you says no error. Option B says my mother would sit by her wheel. C says spinning and reciting prayers. And D says since sunrise to sunset. Sneha is saying that D is the correct answer. Akansha is also saying D is the correct answer. Anybody? Mayuk, hi there. You are saying D is the correct answer. Okay. Now let's understand how to understand why D is the correct answer over here. Guys, whenever we talk about time limit, whenever we talk about timings in the sentences that are given to you, please understand when I explain you properly, because it is going to help you in your exams later on. So when you say since and to, you cannot use, guys, since with to. Since is used for specific time reference. For example, if I say I have been taking the class since 5 o'clock. So when you are referring the time at a specific time limit, then you are using since. Then you will be using since. But in this sentence, there is a time that started and a time that ended. So sunrise is there, and till sunset, the grandmother would sit by her wheel, spinning and reciting prayers. So in spite of using since and to, the correct usage should be from and to. From sunrise to sunset, would sit by her wheel, spinning and reciting prayers. So if the sentence would have been starting from, then the sentence would have been correct. So absolutely the incorrect part is D1, that says since sunrise to sunset. So we cannot say since sunrise to sunset. We will be using from sunrise to sunset whenever there is a specific time reference given to you. I will explain you this with another example. For example, from 8 o'clock till 2 o'clock, I study maths. So this is something that you are specifying, that okay, from 8 o'clock till 2 o'clock, I will be studying maths. So you cannot use since over here in this sentence. So from is the right word that you have to use over here. Okay. Okay, Saurabh over here is saying I get stuck in this type of answers, finding the questions. Okay, Saurabh, this is only basic grammar, guys. This is basic preposition, basic conjunctions. So if you know now, like what are the rules of basic grammar, basic prepositions, how to use modals, how to use conjunctions, it is very easy. So you will not be facing a lot of problems, Saurabh, if I have to specify your query over there in the chat box. So if you know, if you go and study prepositions for one day, you know where you use to, where you use till, it is all going to be clear to all of you. So very soon I will be planning something more so that we can talk about rules more. But right now the entire focus is on TCS NQT. So proceeding with the question number 4 over here. The question is asking you from the sentence, find the gerund. I would love to see answers for this question. If you can tell me where is the gerund. Anyone? B, painting. Okay, Teja is saying that B is the right answer. Okay, B is the right answer. Okay, what do you mean by gerund? That also, if you can reply in the chat box, I would love to hear that. But hota kya hai? What is it? So whenever there is, first of all, gerund is a verb with ing form, right? It cannot be apart from ing form. There is a verb that has to be a verb with ing form, but the meaning of that word is going to be a noun. It is not going to be a verb. Okay, let's understand with an example. If I say I am teaching English, so in this statement, the word teaching is showing my action. It shows that I am somebody who is teaching. But if I say teaching is my profession or teaching is my hobby, in this sentence, the word teaching is not showing the action that I am doing. Yes, Ankita, I am explaining you the meaning of gerund only if you listen to me properly over here. So any word that has an ing form, but it is not it is not showing the action that you are doing. So in this sentence, she found solace in painting, allowing her to express emotions in the vibrant colors. Now there are two ing form of verbs. One is allowing and one is painting. So allowing is showing her action. So allowing cannot be the gerund, but painting is showing her hobby. It is showing the noun. It shows that the girl used to find happiness, peace in painting. So yes, painting is going to be the correct answer over here. Please remember for the rest of your lives also, gerund means ing form of verb which is not showing an action being done by a person, but it shows the noun. It shows the noun. So I'll share another example with you. She has been swimming since 10 o'clock in the morning. Now in this sentence, swimming is verb, it is an action. But if I say swimming on Sundays makes me relax myself. Now in this sentence, swimming is used as a noun. So yeah, that is the gerund. I hope it is clear. Can you give me a yes in the chat box if it is clear? What is gerund? Okay. Proceeding with the next question over here. The sentence can be revised into a better sentence. We have to choose one statement that can revise the given sentence. The sentence that is given to you is, I was at the fair, I got lost, I got scared. So there are three sentence parts divided in three with a full stop. And the question is asking you to go for the best replacement. Ankita, Arka, Ashish, thank you everyone for saying that you are understanding what I'm telling you. Thumbs up for that. Okay, anyone who can tell me the answer for question number 5? One replacement that is going to fix the entire, these three sentences that we have gotten. B1, I went to fair and got lost and I was scared. Okay. B, many of you are going with B option. Okay, now let's see why B is not the correct option. See, in English, guys, we have to avoid redundancy and repetition of content. So avoiding repetition, avoiding redundancy is what the question is going to ask you. The question is asking you that how can you make it an easier and a simpler and a simple sentence. Okay, so first is I got lost at the fair and was scared. So it is giving you all the three information. Fair is also covered, lost is also covered, and scared is also covered. Okay, but in the B1, it is saying I went to fair and got scared as I was lost. So I went to fair and got scared is combining together, and as I was lost is at the end. And this is not, it is not making a simple sentence completely and a proper grammatically correct sentence. I went to the fair and got scared as I was lost. It is not a grammatically correct sentence. I am scared after I am lost at the fair. No, this is also not a proper grammatically correct sentence. I am lost at the fair, so I am scared. I am lost. No, it is a past tense. So C and D will automatically be eliminated because they are using the present tense. We cannot, change the tense of the sentence. So we have only two options, A and B, out of which B is not giving us the entire grammatically correct phase of the sentence. So answer should be A1. Okay, the answer should be I got lost at the fair and was scared. So first he got lost at the fair, and secondly that entire feeling has scared him. So A should be the correct answer for that question. Okay. Yeah, Riju is saying A. Yeah, Jatin is also saying A. Correct guys, that is the correct answer. Okay, question number 6 for you over here. Which of the following sentences does not use informal language? Now when I have seen, guys, in this pattern of TCS NQT, these kind of questions have been asked many times. Like there are options given to you and they are asking you which one do you think is not informally used. That means we have to find out the most formal sentence out of the 4 options. So quickly, can I have some answers? What according to you is the sentence which is formal? Okay, perfect explanation. Thank you. B, A, C, C. Okay, it's a mixture of all the statements. Okay. Okay, guys. Now, please let's understand which one is the correct formal statement. Let's look at this one. Can we sort this out together? B1. This is something that you generally will not be using in formal state of affairs. while you are talking to somebody formally, can you say, like, there is a person, higher to you in authority, can you say that, can we sort this out together? No. So B is absolutely the wrong choice. We are not going to say that B is a formal answer. Thanks for sharing this information. Thanks a lot for sharing this information. So when we say thanks a lot, it automatically becomes informal. Thank you so much is formal. Thanks a lot is informal. So C option is again eliminated. This is a high priority account. Take care. Now, this is also not very formal in the sense if I talk about the entire state of affairs. Take care, right? So I sincerely apologize for the oversight. This is the answer. I sincerely apologize for the oversight, which is absolutely formal, without using any phrasal verb, without using any short forms, without using any acronyms. So the correct answer would be A. Many of you have answered that A is the correct option. So yeah, absolutely, you guys are right. A is the correct option, which is grammatically absolutely correct one. Okay, now here comes a bit, this is going to take some time, guys. So when I was talking to you about time management, when earlier in my video, when we started the live, I told you that time management is something that you have to be very, focused about. So when we say time management, these are the kind of questions that are going to take a lot of time from you. So let's understand what the question is asking us. It is not a paragraph jumble, first of all. It is not telling you to, arrange the entire paragraph. It is asking you that, okay, sentence number 1 I have given, sentence number 4 I have given. There are 2 sentences which are missing in between. Please tell me which sentence you are going to apply in the 2 number and in the 3 number. So please go ahead, read it and tell me which is the second sentence in the sequence. Just read it. I'll read it for you also. Finland's Helsinki airport is using a unique method for screening arriving passengers for COVID-19, especially trained dogs that can detect the virus in humans even before they show any symptoms. Okay. Then let's look at the Q1. Upon arrival at the airport, passengers may be asked to volunteer for the program, and if they agree, are given a wipe to collect a sweat sample. So see how you are relating it, guys. Sentence number 1 is talking about arrival of passengers during the COVID-19, and it is telling you that some trained dogs are there who can detect the virus in human beings. Okay, so that means the second sentence has to be related with the arrival, maybe has to talk about something related to the first one. There has to be a mandatory relationship between the first sentence and the second sentence. So if we go with this one, Q1, upon the arrival, the first they say that on the arrival, there are COVID-19 checkups being done and there are dogs who can detect the virus in human beings. Okay, so the second one would be that upon the arrival at the airport, passengers, they might be asked to volunteer for the program, and if they agree to it, they will be asked to collect a sweat sample. Okay. Then next would be those taking a test will swipe their skin with a test wipe and drop it in a cup, which is then given to the dog. So according to the press release, the dog will perform its work in a separate booth so that the fear of spreading the infection is reduced. So we can easily understand when we read all the sentences that sentence number 1 is a mandatory relation with the sentence number Q, and sentence number Q is related to sentence number P. Once they arrive at the airport, after that they agree that the test will be performed on them. Then how the test is performed, it is talked about in sentence number P, that they will swipe their skin, they will put that tissue in the box, and after that the dog will perform its work. Okay, so the correct sequence would be sentence number 1, then sentence number 2 would be Q, and 3 would be P, and then it will be 4th one. So yeah, the correct answer should be QP. Ankita, Mayuk, many of you have told me that D is the correct answer. So yes, absolutely correct. D1 should be the correct answer in the sequence. So whenever guys such questions come up in the exams, so understand there can be categories of paragraph jumbles that you get in paper. 1, you will be getting 4 sentences. You have to rearrange them in the paragraph in a proper sequence paragraph. Second, there will be 6 sentences. Sentence number 1, sentence number last will be frozen, and the middle 4 sentences you have to rearrange. right? And then there comes this kind of paragraph structure that 2 sentences are given to you, 2 are missing. You have to read out and you have to find out which sentence is going to be there in the second and third part. So please understand that once you read, develop a habit of reading, because it is not a one-day affair. You take a class today, tomorrow you go and appear for your exam. It is not going to help you like that. It requires rigorous practice and lot of reading. Then only you will be able to solve such questions. Okay. Okay. Now we have come to another question. It talks about prepositions, guys. We have to select appropriate options to complete the sentence. So just read the sentence, read the statement, and tell me which option is the correct one. While MSMEs are waiting, dash the release, dash around 5 lakh crore pending payments, no major relief has come their way so far. So let's see which is the correct answer, A, B, C, or D. C, Jatin is saying C. Okay, most of you are answering, going for C. Why C is the correct answer? That is the question, that why are we going to use C over here? So when we talk about waiting, guys, over here the word waiting. Okay, another explanation, another tip for you over here. Whenever you get sentence completion questions, whenever there is a sentence completion question you get in the exam, always remember, guys, that the trick to solve it is mentioned in the statement only, the question only. The question would help you to find out where is the answer. Is my screen visible? Yeah. So the statement only is going to help you to find out the answer. So the word waiting over here, when we say waiting, it is definitely going to use the preposition for. While MSMEs are waiting for the release of around 5 crore pending payments, no major relief has come up their way. Because with waiting, you cannot use any other. Waiting to is wrong, waiting off is wrong, waiting on again is wrong, waiting in is also wrong. So with waiting, there is specifically that you are going to use for with waiting. Similarly, as if there is the word talk written, so you have to know that talk ke saath we will be using to only. It is talk to. You cannot say talk in, talk on, right? So understand that there are mandatory pairs of phrasal verbs. Along with this particular word, you are going to use this particular preposition. So yeah, C is the correct answer. So waiting ke saath we will be using for only, and that is why it is the correct answer. Also, guys, when there are like 2 options given to you, now just see over here there are 2 options, 2 blanks. So when you are very sure about the first blank, you know that yeah, this is the answer for my first blank. So don't waste a lot of time, going reading the entire sentence and finding out the answer for the second blank. That saves a lot of time. You have to be sure with the first blank. If you know the answer for the first one, you can proceed further and save a lot of time. Okay. Now, question number 9 over here for you. We have moved to question number 9. It is asking you to fill in the blank with the correct words that have been given to you. Please read it and please let me know which do you think is the correct answer for question number 9. You have to select the most appropriate option to fill in the blank. And the sentence says the security guard dash leave ended 2 days ago has not yet reported to work. So there are options given to you: whose, who, whom, and which. Now to understand, you have to know the meanings of all of them. Whose is the word that talks about possession of something over of someone over something. Who means kaun, who will say like who are you, that is where you can use who. Who means kisse ya kisko, and which means kaun sa. So let's see. Who is when we say whose leave ended 2 days ago, that means it is showing the relationship of the security guard with the leave. So whose has to be the correct answer for that blank. You will not be okay, many of you are going with option number B, who. The security guard who leave ended 2 days ago. No, guys, that will be wrong, because who cannot be used as a possessive pronoun. We should know that in the blank we are required, there is a requirement of a possessive pronoun. So whose is going to be the correct option, that is showing the possessiveness of the security guard on the leaves. So the security guard whose leaves ended 2 days ago has not reported to work yet. So A is going to be the correct answer in the sequence. Okay, now here is some bit of grammar that we have to be aware about. This question deals with a lot of grammar part. So one part in the sentence below contains an error. You have to identify which part contains an error. So read the sentence. The sentence says either Rahul or Rohit accompany their grandmother and grandfather whenever they go to the hospital. So I would seriously want answers for this question from all of you. For question number 10, where is the error? Okay, it is written grandparents over here. Yeah, okay. And any... Okay, some of you are asking me possessive pronouns meaning. Okay, so possessive pronoun, guys, means that possessiveness means somebody's possession over something. So if I say whose pen is this, then definitely the answer would be somebody's name or somebody's reference, right? You will say this pen belongs to Rohan, or maybe you will say this is her pen. So when you use possessive pronouns that show somebody's belongingness of something, so I'll just move back to this question because here there are some the questions that you are asking me. So whose means possession of a particular person on something. The security guard whose leave ended 2 days ago has not yet reported to work. So we are telling you in the sentence that the security guard जिसकी leaves 2 दिन पहले खत्म हो गई थी, तो whose is the word that is showing the relationship of the security guard with the leave, right? So that is why whose is the correct answer, which is going to fit in the blank. You cannot say who leave ended 2 days ago. You cannot say whom leave ended 2 days ago, because whom, who and which, they have a different meaning. Who means con. So you cannot say con leave. You cannot say that. So it has to be whose leave ended 2 days ago. So that is where you need to be, you can understand. Okay, so in this part, guys, when you say accompany, we have to understand that accompany is one part where you have to understand the grammatical rules which we use. So when I explain you about the rule of singular and plural, please understand this very carefully. When you use either and or, right, in the sentences, so understand that the rule of proximity is used. How many of you know the rule of proximity? Can you tell me in the comment box? What is rule of proximity of subject verb agreement? Proximity rule or rule of proximity in subject verb agreement is what? If you know, just comment in the box that yes you know. Okay, Arka says that it is clear to her. Okay, Arka, thank you so much. Okay, so see, guys, I'll explain you the rule of proximity. Whenever there is a question that comes from either or, neither nor, not only but also. So when either or is there in the question, neither nor is there in the question, not only but also is there in the question, always understand this, the word, the subject, which is closer to the helping verb, we will be using the helping verb according to that. I'll take an example. For example, either my book or my pens dash in the drawer. So if the sentence says either my books or my pens dash in the drawer, so you have to understand that book is singular. I'm not applying s in the book, but pens is plural. So, and the pens is closer to my helping verb, so my helping verb will be plural. Okay, either you or your friends are coming for the party tonight. You cannot say is coming to the party tonight because friends is plural, right? I'll explain you with another example. Either my friends or my sister is expected to reach today. Now, when the sister is there, it is singular and it is closer to the helping verb. So my helping verb changes into singular one. So understand that the subject verb agreement depends on the subject which is closer to the verb, not the first one. Okay, so in this sentence, if I say either Rahul or Rohit and you say accompany, right, which will be wrong. You have to use the statement accompanies. either Rahul or Rohit accompanies their grandparents or grandparents to the market or to the hospital, wherever they go. Okay, because Rohit over here is singular, guys. Rohit is singular. You cannot say accompany with Rohit because accompany will be used with plural. And if there is a singular subject, singular helping verb will be used. The basic rule of subject verb agreement says that a singular subject will take a singular verb, a plural subject will take a plural verb. Please remember this wherever, always. Rule of subject verb agreement says singular subject is equal to singular verb and plural subject is equal to plural verb. I'll give you another example, one more example. Neither my parents nor my brother dash coming tonight. So you cannot say are coming tonight. You will say is coming tonight. Neither my parents nor my brother is coming tonight because my brother is used closer to the helping verb and it is singular also. Okay. Am I clear to all of you? Did you understand the example of brother that I gave you? Neither my parents nor my brother is coming tonight, not are. Okay. Okay, Krishna is asking me, what is the difference between accompany and accompanies? Okay, good question, Krishna. The difference between accompany and accompanies is only the usage with the subject. I accompany you everywhere is grammatically correct. He accompanies her everywhere is grammatically correct. Why? Because the simple present tense says that when we talk about simple present tense, it says that we will use S or ES in the simple present tense, right? So accompany changes into accompanies with the singular subject. So if he says he accompanies her everywhere, because he is a singular subject, that is why we are using accompanies. Okay. Yeah. So if it says Rohit accompanies her everywhere, it is absolutely correct because Rohit is singular. But you cannot say you accompanies her everywhere because you is considered as a plural word. Okay. So this is entirely subject verb agreement. Please go through the concept of subject verb agreement, and whenever you see me in my classes, we talk more about subject verb agreement and its rules, because these kind of questions you definitely get in your exams. Okay, moving further. Understood? Okay, Krishna, thank you that you understood. Question number 11 over here for all of you. Again, it is the same kind of question that we solved already. It is going to ask you the two missing statements in between. So you have to read the entire paragraph once and find out which two statements are going to fill in the blank. Okay, so let's read it together. The sentence number 1 says, COVID-19 spreads mainly among people who are in close contact within about 6 feet for a prolonged period. Now you have to find out which sentence is going to come right after this sentence number 1. Okay. Now let's look at the Q1. Neither my parents nor my brother are, we will get. No, it's neither my parents nor my brother is, Vanita. Okay, I'll take it up at the end of the session. Please solve this question for me. Sentence number 2. Which do you think should be the sequence? COVID-19 spreads mainly among people who are in close contact within about 6 feet for a prolonged period. After that, spread happens. Now see, sentence number 1 is talking about spreading of COVID-19. That means sentence number 2 has to be related with something related to spreading of the disease. So let's look at sentence number Q. Spread happens when an infected person coughs, sneezes or talks, and the droplets from their mouth or nose are launched into the air and land in the mouths or noses of the people nearby. So Q is going to be the second statement, which is absolutely related to sentence number 1. And because in the sentence number Q we are talking about droplets, so second would be the droplet one. Okay, the droplets can also be inhaled into the lungs. So Q and R are mandatory pairs. So Q and R are going to be together, and then we will see sentence number 4. Since people can spread the virus before they know that they are sick, it is important to stay at least 6 feet away from others when possible, even if you or they do not have symptoms. Okay, so the correct sequence would be D1, Q and R. There is no talk about social distancing. There is no talk about sentence number P, so we are going to remove it. There are 3 options given to you, but answers would only be 2. So the correct sequence would be sentence number 1, then Q1 because it is talking more further about the spread of COVID-19, then R1 because it talks about how it gets into the lungs, and the last one would be sentence number 4. So D is the correct answer.
And can you talk about the courses once?
Yeah, okay. As I was, because sir, at the end maybe, because I'll be talking again about the courses at the end.
Sure.
Yeah. So, okay, looking at question number 12, because talking about the courses is important, guys, because this is what you will be getting over there in the live classes, where we can interact, we can talk, you can ask as many questions as you want to. I can see that basic structures of questions are not clear to some people. So a lot of discussion happens, and that happens in the classes. So that is why we will be talking about the courses once again. Okay, question number 12 over here, we are just going to end it up. The exotic remedies for some illnesses have been dashed from generation to generation. So all the options that are given to you, they are phrasal verbs. Please understand they are phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs means verb along with the preposition, and every phrasal verb has a different meaning. Okay, so you have to understand that what meaning is going to fill in the blank that has been given to you. So the exotic remedies from some illnesses have been handed down from generation to generation. Let's see. Handed down means pass something from one generation to the next one. Handed over means transferring of control or possession of something to someone. Handed in means submitting something, right? I am handing in an application to you. Handed out means distributing or giving it to somebody. Okay, so handed down is the correct phrasal verb, which is having the correct meaning, which is going to fill in the blank over there. Handed down means passed on from one generation to generation. So the correct answer over there in the sentence would be the exotic remedies have been handed down for some illnesses from generation to generation. Okay, we are proceeding towards the end. Maybe let's look at another question in the queue. Question number 13.1. It says that you have to complete the following, and I think we will be taking this question, and after that I'll talk to you about something, and then we'll end up. Quickly go through the paragraph that is given to you. We have to compare. Compared with conventional agriculture, organic farming uses fewer pesticides, reduces soil erosion, decreases nitrate leaching into groundwater and surface water, and dash animal wastes. So there are 2 blanks that you have to fill in, and there are options that are given to you. So the answer for the first blank would be that, please understand that the entire question is in past tense. So we have to choose any option that is talking about the past tense. So D is going to be the correct answer. And recycles animal waste back into the farm. These benefits are increasing by higher cost for consumers and generally lower yields. So in any question that talks about completing the statements and completing the sentences, please understand the feel of the sentence. If it is in past tense, go for a past tense answer. If it is in present tense, find out and go for a present tense answer. So we have taken up many questions today.